December 14th. Oh, excuse me. I'd like to call the December 14th, 2023 Traffic and Parking Commission meeting to order. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we please have a roll call?
Chair Turner.
Here.
Vice Chair Calderon.
Present.
Commissioner Erickson.
Here.
Commissioner Rice. Excused, Commissioner Emanuel.
Here.
Dr. Kevin Barker.
Present.
Rosa Cortez.
Present.
Commissioner Swadling.
Present.
Commissioner Lang. Excused. Thank you, Chair. You have a quorum.
Thank you. This meeting has been properly noticed and has been posted in accordance with the open meeting law requirements.
Yes, it has, Chair.
Thank you. I want to wish everyone here a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and this is the first time in a long time we've had a meeting during this time of year, so happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you. Same to you.
First item on the agenda is public comment. Comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. I don't see anybody coming, so let's move on with business. The first, for possible action to move final minutes, May 25th, 2023. Does anyone want to recommend approval of the minutes of May 25th, 2023?
I'll make a motion the minutes be accepted.
This is Bonnie Swadling. I'd like to second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? First discussion on the
Chair,
agenda.
can you just, this is Jim Lewis from the City Attorney's Office, can you just indicate if the motion is passed?
Okay.
Obviously, we know that it has because everyone said aye, but
Okay.
it's just helpful for the clerk to have that on the record.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That motion passed. Thank you so much. First discussion item on the agenda is discussion for possible action to install speed cushions on Bedford Road between Charleston Boulevard and Alta Drive. Traffic?
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep, and for the record, Sean Robinson, Assistant City Traffic Engineer for the City of Las Vegas. And today, we would like to, oops, not working. There we go. Okay. So first, we'd like to provide some background information that could be informative for some items that will be discussed today. We'd like to introduce or reintroduce, if you've already heard this, the City of Las Vegas Vision Zero Action Plan. The Vision Zero is a strategy to eliminate all traffic fatalities and severe injuries while increasing safe, healthy, and equitable mobility for all. We realize that this is a big goal to eliminate all traffic fatalities, but how can our goal be anything but zero deaths as stewards to the public? So why is there a need for Vision Zero? Well, from 2015 to 2019, there were 254 fatals, 895 severe crashes, which resulted in about one fatal or severe crash every 2 days within the City of Las Vegas alone. As such, the City Council on February 1st, 2023, by Resolution R5-2023, adopted the Vision Zero Action Plan. This action plan includes over 90 specific items across 5 strategy areas, all of which are targeted to eliminate traffic fatalities and severe injuries. Today we may make reference to our high injury network, so I just wanted to provide a little background on that. So represented by the yellow lines on this image, these yellow lines are roadways within the City of Las Vegas that have been identified as the highest fatal and severe crashes for the years 2015 to 2019. Our high injury network shows that approximately 77% of most severe crashes occur on just 11% of our roadways within the City of Las Vegas. This is an important tool for us to help prioritize safety improvements. Okay. So item number 5, discussion for possible action to install speed cushions on Bedford Road between Charleston Boulevard and Alta Drive. The Transportation Engineering Division received a concern from residents in the area of speeding in front of their homes. Residents commented also high numbers of pedestrians, school-age students, walking the street during the morning and afternoon release of the adjacent schools in the area. These are Hyde Park Middle School and Sage Collegiate Park Public Charter School, just east of Bedford Road. Data was collected on April of 2023. The data collected showed vehicles were traveling over 38 miles per hour, or about 13 miles per hour over the posted speed limit of 25. There were approximately 1,600 vehicles per day. There were a total of 16 reported crashes on this segment from 2020 to 2023. Based on this criteria and the city's neighborhood traffic management program, the Transportation Engineering Division recommends the installation of speed cushions along this corridor. Additionally, following the city's evaluation of August of this year, we sent out ballots to 87 residents that would be directly impacted by these cushions. The city received multiple responses in favor of the speed cushions and no letter opposing the speed cushions. The City of Las Vegas also met with fire department, and the fire department will support the installation in accordance to the City of Las Vegas number 6631 traffic calming devices, as long as they meet all required specifications set forth by the City of Las Vegas. Staff recommends the installation of speed cushions on Bedford Road between Charleston Boulevard and Alta Drive.
Thank you very much. This has been advertised as a public hearing. Is there anyone present who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. I don't see anyone, so I'll go ahead and open this up for public hearing. Commissioners?
Question, how many speed cushions would be placed on Bedford?
So there would be 7 speed cushions, equally spaced along the corridor. And the spacing requirements come from the ITE, so the Institute of Traffic Engineers, for that spacing, and it's just to guarantee that they're spaced equally, but also so that cars can't actually speed up enough. And
Before they get to the next one?
Before they get to the next one, exactly.
That speed limit's 25 right now, correct, on that street?
Correct. Posted 25, yep.
Anyone else like to speak?
Yes, this is Commissioner Swadling. I'm just concerned about what you said about the fire department and the clearing of that vehicle. Is there any detriment to the speed that, say, a ambulance or a fire truck could get to that area?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And we also have the City of Las Vegas Fire with us today. So these that are set out there, they're not traditional like speed bumps or humps. They're cushions. And so there's a spot that allows for the fire apparatus to straddle the middle of the speed cushion itself. And so you can see on the image there, below it, that middle part there is the cushion part. And so it's 6 foot wide with 3 foot spaces in between that. And so that allows the fire apparatus to traverse the speed cushion. And so it will potentially slow them down, but it is meant to keep them going, so they are not hindered. The cushion also doesn't allow for a pedestrian vehicle, just a normal vehicle, to split that difference because of the chassis. And so we've worked with City of Las Vegas Fire to do some tests of this, and we found that they can navigate it fine, but for normal vehicles that were traversing this, they will have to slow down to go over it.
Okay, thank you.
This is Chair Turner. My office is in this general area, and I drive this road fairly regularly. With all the schools in the general area, I see a lot of speeding up and down that road, and I agree with staff. I totally would recommend approval of this item.
This is
Do I have a
Commissioner
motion?
Emanuel. Sorry. My daughter, she's a middle schooler at Hyde Park, so I drive this every day as well. And the amount of speeders that come through Bedford is terrifying as a parent to watch. There is a drop from 25 miles per hour to 15 miles per hour nearby the school. I don't think that is very visible for most drivers to see or to be alerted of. So I would like that under consideration as well. But the crosswalks need to be repainted frequently because they are they're lightning, so they're not very visible for the students or the parents or the drivers. So I very much support this, the speed humps.
Anyone else? Anyone want to entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion that move forward with the cushions there on the Bedford from Alta to Charleston.
Do I have a second?
Commissioner Swadling, I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? This item passes. Next item on the agenda is item number 6, discussion for possible action to install speed cushions on El Camino Avenue between Valley View Boulevard and Spanish Oaks Drive.
Okay, traffic. Again, for the record, Sean Robinson, Assistant City Traffic Engineer. The Transportation Engineering received a concern about possible speeding and cut-through traffic along this segment of roadway. Data was collected in November 2022. The data collected showed that vehicles were traveling over 39 miles per hour, or about 14 miles per hour over the posted speed limit of 25. There were approximately 2,232 vehicles per day. There were reported 6 crashes between 2016 to 2020. Based on this criteria from the city's Neighborhood Traffic Management Program, the Transportation Division recommends the installation of speed cushions along this corridor. Following discussions with the City of Las Vegas Fire, there were concerns about the fire response route adjacent to the commercial and residential area. It was only recommended to install 1 set of cushions for this segment of road, primarily at the location where the driveway for the residential to the north of the intersection is directly across from the commercial area and driveway to the south. This is specifically where pedestrians would be more likely to be crossing El Camino Avenue, and thus that's why we wanted to reduce the speeds at that location. City of Las Vegas Department will support the installation in accordance to City of Las Vegas number 6631 traffic calming devices, as long as they meet all required specifications set forth by the City of Las Vegas. Staff recommends the installation of 1 speed cushion on El Camino Road between Valley View Boulevard and Spanish Oaks Drive.
Thank you. This item has been advertised as a public hearing. Is there anyone present who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and open it up to the commission.
Commissioner Calderon, what's the speed limit in that area right now?
25 miles per hour.
And you said there were how many crashes between those years you did the study? How many crashes?
How many, I'm sorry, say that again?
Accidents?
Oh, there were 6 crashes between 2016 to 2020. 6 reported crashes between 2016 to 2020.
And that 1 speed cushion just about the middle point between those 2 streets, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
This is Commissioner Swadling. Has there been a study done that shows that these humps do make a difference in traffic lack of traffic crashes?
Yes, thank you for that question. So From the Federal Highway Administration, the speed cushions are a recommended proven countermeasure from the federal government. Additionally, we have tested these for pre and post data for locations where we have installed them. We see about a 20% decrease in speeding when they're done in that sequence that I had mentioned before. However, at this location, because they are not spaced at every 500 feet, we would only expect the actual speeds, around that location to be slowed down, which is primarily where we were concerned about pedestrians crossing from a residential area to the commercial area and back and forth, just day-to-day life to get things.
Thank you.
Commissioner Calderon, on that thing where it says the Tides of Valley View Apartments, that's the traffic you're speaking of, correct?
Correct.
That would be, people would be crossing that street over to the industrial area?
Correct.
And that's about what, 100, that cushion would be about 100 feet or about 100 feet from that corner?
I think it would be a little bit more, but we can get that number for you.
So you figured that would slow it down enough for those people that would be crossing that area?
Yeah, it looks like 100 feet. So in advance of the speed cushion, I know the detail's a little hard to see that. In advance of the speed cushion, there is a sign that is side mounted that says speed hump. And then in addition, there is a roadway marking in advance about 50 feet of the actual.
Before that?
Correct.
So it would be what, the chevrons?
Yes,
Markings?
it's a pavement marking, but yeah, it's the same material as a chevron. But it says hump.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyone else like to speak? This is Chair Turner. I also drive down this road fairly frequently. There's a lot of cut-through traffic on El Camino there. People trying to get off of Sahara and over to Valley View and vice versa. I would recommend approval of this item as well. Anyone like to make a recommendation?
Commissioner Calderon, I'll move it be accepted.
Do I have a second?
Commissioner Swadley, I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, this item passes. Next item on the agenda is item number 7, discussion for possible action to restrict parking on Russell Street between Cimarron Road and 9th Island Court.
Okay.
Traffic?
Yeah, for the record, Sean Robinson, Assistant City Traffic Engineer. So City of Las Vegas Department of Public Works, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs reached out to the Transportation Engineering Division to better define the parking requirements on Russell Street between Cimarron Road and 9th Island Court. The parking area is a gravel shoulder along the park frontage where citizens are able to park, but due to the inadequate designated parking signage for that area, the citizens park both perpendicular and parallel to the roadway, causing confusion and safety concerns for motorists and pedestrians visiting the park. Staff recommends restricting parking within 20 foot of the mid-block pedestrian crossing and 15 foot of utility appurtenances in compliance with the city's municipal code, Title 11, for restricted areas of parking, as well as installing parallel parking only and no parking from dusk to dawn signs along the park frontage. This will improve the consistency and better identify the locations and time of parking. This recommendation will result in approximately 365 feet of parking that would be reduced. However, it would still provide approximately 36 parking spaces. So staff would recommend what is there before you with the no parking signs and the restricted parking.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
Commissioner Calderon, I have a question. I saw some video of the area that you're speaking of the gravel area and that, and many of those cars are parked at all different directions. Is it enforced at all over there for the parallel parking? It doesn't seem to be when I see so many vehicles there. They're parked on an angle, They're parked straight, they're backed in, and very few are parallel parking. So
Yeah.
what's been done in the past to try to curb that?
No, thank you for that, and that was why that it came through our city department, because that was a concern that was raised through the Parks and Recreation. And so, yes, our parking services, they do go out there, but it's hard to enforce that without the adequate signage that's there, because they're not necessarily doing anything, they're not necessarily doing anything wrong if there's no signage that's out there. So we do have people that regularly go out there. These signs would help reinforce just what you said, where we can deploy people to go out there and enforce that these rules are being done.
When you say not the proper number of signs, I've seen quite a few signs.
Oh, these would be the additional signs added, or the ones that are out there
Yeah, the ones that
currently.
are already out there now. I mean, you can't really miss it. If you're going to park in any of that area there, they're clearly noticeable. You got the red and white, and then you got the green and white. I mean, how could they miss it? So I think you have an adequate number of signs. It's just that it may not be enforced,
Okay.
and that's why they continue to do that.
Point well taken.
I mean, are you going to put more signs up, or?
No, that's a point well taken, and we can take that back to our code enforcement and parking services. So we don't want to clutter the road with signs.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but to that point, we can go out and validate that they're, clean and clearly visible as well.
Commissioner, let me open this up as a public hearing first.
I have a question, and that is
Excuse me.
about-
I need to open this up as a public hearing first before we get into a real discussion here. This has been advertised as a public hearing. Is there anyone present who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and open it up to the commissioners. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're right.
Erickson, I just have a general question. How often is this park used publicly? Didn't stick. Publicly enough that this is going to be a negative, or it's not? Because that's why probably a lot of people park parallel or whatever, is because they need a park.
I'll jump in and fill that. Joe Norby, I'm our city traffic engineer and deputy director of public works. So kind of maybe a little bit of backstory, maybe if I can explain a little bit more. To your guys' concern, the number of signs and placement of the signs is a little bit confusing. It leaves a little bit of ambiguity of where they can park and how they can park. Which is why we're looking to clean this up with some more appropriate and more consistent signing end to end. We don't have that same consistency from one side all the way to the other. And we're also looking to restrict some parking immediately adjacent to the crosswalks where we don't have that restriction today. To Commissioner Erickson's point, the park is used daily. If you go out there anytime, 7 days a week, almost 365 days a year, there are vehicles out there. People use it for its recreational bikes. There's horse and walking trails out there. And so as a result, it is heavily used. With the depth of the gravel parking area not being significant enough to allow for back in or straight in parking without backing into the public right of way or onto the public street, which is why we've included parallel parking as our recommendation only. Creates a little bit safer of a situation for the vehicles getting in and out of there without having to back onto the street or around bigger trucks or trailers that may be there that reduce visibility for them to back onto the street and into oncoming traffic. So yes, it is a heavily used area, recreational area, that we're just looking to help improve some safety for the park users and the roadway users that are out there along the road, running, walking, biking with their horses and whatnot.
Commissioner Calderon, on that particular area there, before you get to Ninth Island, you do have that area blocked off where cars aren't allowed to park near that That would be the entranceway into the park area for hikers and horse riding and so forth. From what I've seen, you've got some 4x4s or whatever from the ground coming up that prevent vehicles from parking near that entranceway to the park area, correct? There's no parking there right now.
Joe Norby, City Traffic Engineer, for the record. Correct. We do have some control there now that prevents a vehicle, ATV, pickup for or car, truck, or anything else from getting in there as a little bit of control. But it's not currently signed, so you do have people parking immediately adjacent to those crosswalk areas, which creates a site visibility for the pedestrians exiting or entering into the park. So we want to make sure that they're completely visible, so we restrict the cars from parking either side of that a little bit, enough to give those people, those pedestrians and or cyclists or equestrian users, the ability to be seen by the oncoming traffic along Racel.
The restricting parking that you're speaking of, would it be more towards that end?
So it's both. So we've got the two crosswalks there on either end. Can you see the map there in front of you? I don't know if it's on the screen there in front of you. So the areas in the dark red line along the north side of Racel, there's three of them. There's one on the far west end of about 150 feet where we just don't have adequate shoulder, and then on top of that, the crosswalk there. And the entrance into the park, entrance into the trail. Then we'll have a 300-ish foot-long parallel parking zone. Continuing east, we've got about an 80-foot no parking zone that accommodates some utility, above-ground utility obstructions that we have there. And those are blocked off with concrete bollards and other preventive devices to keep people from parking on top of those. Then we go to about another 500-foot area that we're proposing parallel parking only. And then to close it off from just 20 feet west of that east entrance all the way to the property line adjacent to 9th Island, restricting parking there. And it's twofold. One is the crosswalk, and two is the park maintenance access that we have along that east property line, along the property line with 9th Island there.
Do we have any numbers as far as any incidents that have taken place there? Cars backing into other cars or individuals or anything?
No numbers were collected as part of this. It was more of a Parks and Ground Maintenance brought this to us saying, hey, we've got some concerns. What can traffic do to help clean some things up and better delineate things? And then because of the amount of space and linear footage that we're restricting, it necessitates coming in front of the commission here to get this approved.
Because I think it would also help safety-wise too.
Well, absolutely. We anticipate with these types of countermeasures to improve safety, even though we don't have some hard and fast numbers to go along with it.
Okay.
Commissioner Erickson, because many times there are taller, bigger vehicles using it. How high, looking at the size, because if you're in a car and something parks big to you, you don't see.
Are you talking about the height of the sign? So our height minimums to the bottom of the sign by our Manual of Uniform Traffic and Control Devices, the MUTCD, is 7 feet. So 7 feet clearance from the bottom of the sign to the ground is your minimum clearance. So we'd be looking at that, and then you've got about 4 feet worth of signs that stick above that. So to the top of that top sign, you're looking at 11 to 12 foot mark. So it should be visible over, I'm not going to say all vehicles, but a vast majority of the vehicles that we anticipate being parked out there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Commissioner Emanuel, are you planning to stripe any portion of that parking area to differentiate the roadway from the parking area? Because you said there's going to be, or there is availability for about 36 parking spots.
We'll go. So Joe Norby, again, just for the record, city traffic engineer. We are not looking to stripe it because it's gravel, and the durability of any kind of paint markings on there. It will look good for about the first week, and you get enough vehicles over it, the lines will be gone and obliterated. But it's more just the zone, and just designating a zone where people can come park within that area.
Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion.
Commissioner Swadling, I'd like to make a motion to restrict parking on Rochelle Street between Cimarron and 9th Island Court.
Do I have a second?
Commissioner Barker, I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. The next item on the agenda is item number 8, discussion for possible action to change the speed limit on Wyoming Avenue between Industrial Avenue and Main Street from 35 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. Mr. Robinson?
Yep. For the record, Sean Robinson, Assistant City Traffic Engineer. So there have been many capital improvement projects around the Art District over the past few years. These improvements have complete street elements, including better lighting, wider sidewalks, and bike lanes to support safer mobility for all road users. In conjunction with a future capital improvement project along Wyoming from Industrial Road to Las Vegas, planned for Q4 2024, the Transportation Engineering Division conducted a speed limit evaluation utilizing a tool from the Federal Highway Administration called U.S. Limits. Data was collected in January of 2022. The average daily traffic was 5,200 vehicles per day. The speed data collected showed that the 85th percentile speeds were 30 miles per hour, with a total of 26 crashes over the past 3 years. The results of this evaluation in the Transportation Engineering Division supported the reduction of the speed limit from 35 miles per hour to 25. Furthermore, the reductions in speed would make the posted speed limits consistent with the other adjacent roadways, which you can see on your screen before you. Additionally, this area is within the City of Las Vegas Vision Zero High Injury Network, which again are the roadways that represent approximately 77% of the most severe crashes. The reduction of speed supported with the design elements from the capital improvement project would be complementary to one another and are aimed at reducing fatal and severe crashes as a proven countermeasure from the Federal Highway Administration. The results of this study in the Transportation Engineering Division recommends permanently changing the posted speed limit on Wyoming Avenue between Industrial Avenue and Main Street from 35 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour.
Thank you. This item has been advertised as a public hearing. Is there anyone present who would like to speak on this item? If so, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and open it up to the commission. Anybody have anything to offer?
This is Commissioner Swadling, representing Ward 3. I use Wyoming a great deal and to get downtown, and I agree that there's a lot of foot traffic in that area, and I think it would coincide nicely with what we recommended at our last meeting to lower Main Street from 30 to 25 to keep that consistent in that area.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Commissioner Barker, I make a motion to reduce the speed limit on the Wyoming corridor to 25 miles an hour.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. Calderon.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. At this time, the agenda we have for citizens' participation. Items raised under this portion of the agenda cannot be acted upon by the Traffic and Parking Commission unless the notice provisions the open meeting law have been complied with. Therefore, action on such items will have to be considered at a later time. Seeing as how we have nobody here today, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And I'll close the hearing. Thank you guys very much. And happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.